You look at the procedure under eye to eye, the word imminent doesn't appear, does it?
Not per se, no.
I mean, it just flat isn't there. True?
True.
Okay. And so, looking at the policy and procedure, what it says when you put someone eye to eye is when they have some suicidal ideation, correct?
Foundation.
Correct.
That's what the policy says. True?
True.
Okay, now, did you ever receive any training from the MEADOWS on eye to eye and explaining that this level is for patients with some suicidal ideation or other fragile patients needing constant support? Was it ever made clear to you when eye to eye is to be used?
Form and foundation.
What I was taught was some ideation meant some ideation that was imminent.
Okay.
Some people have ideation from the time they're 5 years old.
Objective's not responsive.
No, let her finish.
I thought you were finished.
I'm sorry.
Whenever you stop, I'm going to then start asking questions.
Well, she didn't have to talk faster because you're going to jump in. You just have to let her finish. And
Go ahead.
if you get interrupted, just indicate you're interrupted and you want to.
Yeah, that's the
finish
best
Okay.
sign. If
All right.
if I'm interrupting, just tell me.
Okay. In my experience, there's some people that are suicidal their entire life. It's the coping mechanism they learn from almost day one. That doesn't mean they're going to commit suicide. We wouldn't take somebody in that because they've been suicidal their whole life and put them on eye to eye. That would not make sense. We put them on eye to eye to protect them from hurting themselves. If there's no indication that at that time they're more of a risk of hurting themselves than they were when they were 5 years old, it would not make sense to put them on eye to eye.
Okay, objective's not responsive. And that's simply for the record.
Yeah. That, like my objections, you can ignore his objections.
Okay.
But these are just for the judge for later on.
Exactly. Okay, now, did you have someone tell you at the MEADOWS prior to Matt coming to the MEADOWS that what the MEADOWS policy and procedure says isn't really what it means,
Form.
or words to that effect?
Form.
I don't think anyone ever referred to the form and said, you have to interpret beyond these words. No, I don't think so.
Okay, would you say when you read this document for eye to eye, when it says this level is for patients with some suicidal ideation, and we stop right there for a second, that's ambiguous to you?
Objection to foundation.
I believe that it probably could have been written better, but I don't think it changes what it means. But yeah, it probably could have been written better.
Because if you follow this document, this level is for patients with some suicidal ideation. If you had followed that word for word and interpreted it as it states, then Matt would be on eye to eye on Friday and Saturday and Sunday, wouldn't he?
Form and foundation.
And probably 30 other patients.
All of them would. Is that what you're saying?
A lot of people that come in with those kinds of problems have had suicidal ideation or...
But let's just talk about Matt.
Excuse me.
Did I interrupt you? I
I
didn't
mean,
mean to.
if she says or, probably you're interrupting her.
Well, are you finished?
And so it would be more of a discretion of the staff as to whether some meant, do these patients have they had suicidal ideation? Do they think about this? Yeah, I would say probably the general population that needs treatment like that has crossed their mind several times. We wouldn't necessarily put them on eye to eye. That wouldn't make sense in the kind of program it is.
Okay. Objectives not responsive.